Out of all the comparisons and verses we could imagine, this one still makes the most sense. The Galaxy S21 Ultra is undoubtedly the ultimate ultra flagship on the Android side of things, with everything beefed up as high as possible. The iPhone 13 Pro is that too on the Apple iOS camp. These are two lucrative options if you're out shopping for a flagship smartphone, but which one should you end up buying? I'm Rohan from TechieTechTech and let me help you decide. Here we go. When we talk about the build quality and the design, I think both these phones are amongst the top of the top. The Galaxy S21 Ultra has a design with a unique camera module which seems to be integrated with the overall frame of the phone. It looks different and unlike any other phone in the market. The matte finish on the back glass feels premium, although I'm not the biggest fan of the glossy aluminium frame. Turn over to the iPhone and we have a completely different story. Much like the iPhone 12 Pro, the iPhone 13 Pro has all flat edges and flat front and back glass. It looks very unique too, but quite similar to its predecessor. It's also really heavy to the point that it feels like you're holding a dense metal brick. The thing where the iPhone has a clear advantage is the stainless steel frame over the aluminium. Simply put, the iPhone will age better because stainless steel is a harder material which will not catch dents or scuffs nearly as easily. However, Samsung strikes back by having a more ergonomic design with its curved front and back glass, which allows a more comfortable grip in comparison to the iPhone, whose sharp edges and heavy weight tend to stab you in the palm. Now both these phones are ultra super premium, and since design is a subjective choice, I'm going to let you decide the winner for yourself in this category. Moving on, let's talk about the displays. Apple has always had a distinct disadvantage in the display department, which is the refresh rate. Well, not anymore. They finally decided to up their game and included a 120Hz Pro Motion display on the Pro models this year. This change means that the display on the iPhone and the S21 Ultra are now more similar than ever. There are, however, two discernible differences. Firstly, the display on the iPhone is completely flat, while the one on the S21 Ultra is curved on the edges. To some people, the curved display looks cooler and more futuristic, while others, like myself, prefer flat displays because of no accidental touches and unwanted glare. Again, a very subjective choice. Secondly, even though the notch on the iPhone is reduced as compared to previous iPhone models, it is still nowhere as clean looking as the small punch hole on the S21 Ultra. It makes a noticeable difference in the gaming and video watching experience. But apart from these two differences, both these phones pack displays with excellent colors, brilliant details, and larger than life saturation. You would be hard pressed to find any complaints about the display experience of either of these two phones. Pretty much impossible to go wrong here. Anyway, let's talk about the performance now. If you follow the tech industry, you know where this is going. See, both these phones are wicked fast, so all regular user scenarios will not leave you wanting for more power on either of these two phones. Be it your day-to-day social media or texting or browsing, or some more power intense stuff like gaming or video conferencing or video editing, both these phones are sufficiently powerful. However, when you put these phones side by side, some differences do tend to show up. For once, a vast majority of the games are simply better optimized for iOS, which means that they run more smoothly, there are hardly any frame drops, and even the launching and the loading times are significantly trimmed down. And while both the phones heat up under pressure, the iPhone heats up less and after a lot more time. Sorry Samsung fans, but I have to admit that the iPhone 13 Pro is clearly and significantly the better gaming phone. However, if you're not a gamer or if you don't edit 4K videos on your phone, you're definitely not going to notice any performance differences between these two phones. In fact, if you don't put these phones side by side, I think you will be extremely satisfied by either of the phones in terms of performance. However, where you will notice an instant difference though is the software and ecosystem experience. This is somewhat of the classic Android versus iOS debate. Most of us already have preferences or are already a part of an ecosystem. See, software wise, both the platforms have their respective sets of pros and cons. I feel that while iOS is simpler to use and a bit more polished, it is more restrictive and definitely less customizable. Samsung's One UI, on the other hand, is definitely more power user friendly with more customization options, more features, and a better notification system. Where it falls behind though is the absolute volume of the preloaded stuff that you get on the phone. There are so many features that most people won't really use, and there is an alternate Samsung service for every Google service on this phone. So you have Bixby for Google Assistant, you have Samsung Web for Google Chrome, and many more. iOS is definitely the cleaner and the more inviting software experience. Samsung, on the other hand, can be overwhelming for newcomers and non-tech users. Another thing to add here is that while Samsung has a great ecosystem, it is still not as developed as Apple's. Services like iMessage and FaceTime are Apple exclusive and used widely. Similarly, products like AirPods and Apple Watch are more popular than Galaxy Buds and Galaxy Watch. I think it's safe to say that Apple does have the edge in the ecosystem department. However, do note that if you are going Android, then on that side of things, Samsung definitely has the most developed Android ecosystem. Apple also has an edge in the software support department, even though Samsung is pretty hot on their tail. See, Apple provides software updates for every iPhone till 5 years of its life cycle. That is industry leading and frankly still unrivaled. What's more, all the iPhones, be it the latest one or the oldest one, the most expensive one or the cheapest one, all of them get the updates on the same day at the same time. This is a stark contrast to Android, where the older flagships are often seen waiting months and months for the latest version of the respective skin of Android. But Samsung has promised 4 years of security updates and 3 years of feature software updates for all their Galaxy flagships, which is the best that you can get on the Android camp of things. See, in our regular review, this would be the time where we would transition to the camera department. But the thing is that there's just so much to cover about the cameras that I feel that it deserves a special video of its own. We will be uploading an iPhone 13 Pro versus an S21 Ultra camera comparison in a separate video and linking it in the description very soon. Until then, let's talk about the battery life. When we talk about battery life, there are a few things to note. Both these phones have terrific battery life, with the S21 Ultra having the best battery life of any Android phone I have ever tested. The smaller iPhone 13 Pro has very similar battery life to the S21 Ultra. The larger 13 Pro Max, however, is in a separate league of its own. The iPhone 13 Pro Max can comfortably last for 2 days under mid to heavy use, and I can frankly not say that about any other phone I've used in my life. It is the phone to get if you need the absolute best battery life possible on any smartphone. When we talk about the charging though, the Galaxy S21 Ultra supports faster charging at 25W compared to 20W on both the iPhones. Both phones also do not come with an adapter in the box, which is annoying but by now expected. Both phones support fast wireless charging, although only the Galaxy supports reverse wireless charging as well. All in all, both the iPhone and the Galaxy S21 Ultra are battery champs with mammoth battery lives that should satisfy all kinds of users. And now for a few quick highlights before we conclude. Face ID on the iPhone is secure and fast, but Samsung also has a fingerprint sensor which makes it much easier to use while wearing a mask. The speakers and the haptics are a step up on the iPhone, although not by a huge margin. The signal holding capacity is better on the S21 Ultra compared to the iPhone 13 Pro. Call quality, however, is equally great on both phones. Now for the conclusion. See, as cliche as it might be, when you're choosing between these two phones, it is impossible to make a wrong decision. Both of them are extremely well equipped and pack some amazing features which make them worthy of carrying the Ultra and the Pro monikers respectively. In the end, it potentially comes down to what software platform and ecosystem you prefer. For me, the answer was the iPhone 13 Pro. I hope this video helped you out guys, and if it did, help us back by liking this video, sharing it and subscribing to our channel. Let me know your views on this comparison by commenting down below. Until then, this has been Rohan from TechieTechTech and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.